But some of the things that stand out in this game that will not register with the numbers. And I'm going to talk about Joshua Flowers, defensive back, cornerback from Winston-Salem. One of the things that he was able to do in this game, he was able to lock down his receiving opponents. He was able to help take a portion of the side of the field away because he was not targeted against as much. He did have one pass that was completed against him in that matchup, but for the most part, his defensive prowessness actually stood out of how he was able to take out the receivers in that game, shutting down at least one side of the field. That will not show up in your stats, but watching that game closely, Flowers definitely had an impactful game. But perhaps the most impactful defensive player in that game was Norfolk State's very own Desean Dixon. Now, Desean Dixon, the reason why Team Robinson really did not get off in a good start for us with their quarterbacks because Dixon was always creating havoc in that game. Did not have a lot of tackles, but he was very, very disruptive in that game. He was that dude defensively, how every snap he was always pretty much in the backfield. That young man is definitely an NFL caliber player. Definitely watch out for Mr. Dixon coming from Norfolk State, and also his teammate Chris Myers. He had himself a solid game as well. But Dixon, definitely keep your eyes out for that young man. Now then we have Evan DeLay La Rosa from Forestville State. He had a solid game. I would say for Team Gaither, they actually had some solid defensive backs in that game, and they stood out. Defensive backs are second in the NFL amongst the 30 HBCU players that are currently in the league with 7, followed behind offensive linemen with 9. So defensive backs is one of those plays on one of those positions that a team cannot get enough of. I think that the defensive back core for Team Gaither was definitely had a solid game in that Legacy Bowl. And then when you look at running back